Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2, and our title is Advantage and Shortcomings National Philosophy of Education and Philosophy of Islamic Education. So, everyone, listen carefully. Right? This is our group members. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. My name is Muhammad Zuhri, and my metric number is 2219203. And before we start to our point, we go to the first thing is introduction about national philosophy of education and philosophy Islamic education. Alright. For introduction, firstly, we must to know what is definition of national philosophy of education and philosophy of Islamic education in Malaysia. A philosophy that guide Malaysia education system to develop individual holistically, intellectual, spiritual, emotional, and physical. And philosophy of Islam education and education philosophy based on the Quran and Sunnah that aims to develop individuals with faith, knowledge, and good character, as well as success in dunya and akhirah. After that, we move to the objective, NPE and PIE. Objective of National Philosophy of Education. The first is introduced to guide Malaysia education, FPK, was introduced to provide a clear direction for how education should develop individuals and society, for the first. And the second, guide curriculum and teaching methods. It influences how subjects are designed and how teachers teach students in school. Third, balance individuals for national development. The main goal is to produce individuals who can contribute to the development and unity of Malaysia. Then, objective of philosophy of Islamic education. First, rooted in Islamic educational tradition. Islamic education has existed for centuries and emphasizes the importance of seeking knowledge. Second, applied in religious and moral education. In Malaysia, this philosophy influenced Islamic studies and the moral development of students. Third, success in dunya and akhirah. It aims to produce individuals who achieve success in both worldly life and the hereafter. Then, why in the Malaysian education system is important? It is because guideline for education policies and practice in the Malaysia. Second, develop knowledgeable and ethical individuals. Third, promote balanced development. And lastly, build responsible citizen, the good citizen in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nizam bin Madnasil, metric number 2313821. As mentioned earlier, one of the objectives of NPE is to provide a clear direction on how education should develop individuals and society. And now, let us take a look what are the advantages of national philosophy of education. The first advantages is shifting from exam-oriented to a holistic-oriented education setting. Before NPE was introduced, our education system was likely fully focusing on paper examination only. And that become rooted in our education setting that we are only uphold on examination. As our country keep on developing, some of the students are lacking skills, competency, and including spiritual development. But through NPE, there is an integration of JERIS, which known as the physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, and social as the main components of growth in every individuals of the student. Through NPE, the development focuses on both IQ and EQ of every student. Thus, through NPE, it tilts our education as the medium on of total person development. Next advantages is strengthening national unity. Regardless of development in this country, our education remain as the tool for uniting people in Malaysia. Uh, the first one can be seen by institutionalizing Rukun Negara principles in the classroom. For example, this can be seen in the assembly routine, which is through weekly pledge, Ikrar Rukun Negara, being recited. This philosophy also can foster shared universal values and mutual respect as it being used in all schools in Malaysia. Lastly, it can prioritize social harmony and collective well-being, meaning to say that this not only focuses solely on learning, but to produce society that contributes to each other and the nation, but all started from the school. Next, NPE also uphold ethical integrity. So, in NPE, it emphasizes that the ultimate goal of knowledge is to make us as a better human beings. By focusing also on ethics and character akhlak, this system aims to produce a workforce that rejects corruption and uphold justice and integrity, which is essential for professional leadership. Meaning to say that um, education is aligned with ethics, especially in application in our daily life. So, lastly, future ready and lifelong learning. So, in NPE, education is defined as an ongoing effort, not only for graduation. So this will shift our student on keep on learning in their life. It is differ to can be compared to some people that thought education is after examination will not use it anymore. Other than that, this lifelong learning can ensure that Malaysian graduates remain relevant as even our technology changes. And this will result on making our workforce more adaptable, allowing them to reskill and upskill throughout their lives to compete on a global stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amiruddin bin Khalid. My metric number is 2319637. Okay. The national education philosophy is the main foundation of the Malaysian education system, which aims to produce individuals who are balanced in intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. However, although this philosophy is very well designed and comprehensive, there are several weaknesses in its implementation that are often discussed by scholars and education researchers. Therefore, in this presentation, I will describe or explain about several shortcomings or main weaknesses of the national education philosophy. Now we look at the first point of shortcomings of the national philosophy of education. First, gap between philosophy and implementation. Actually, there is a gap between the educational philosophy that emphasizes holistic development and its actual implementation in schools. In practice, teachers and schools focus more on completing the syllabus and achieving exam results. So, as a result, students' development on personality, emotions, and soft skills are less attention. So we look at the explanation and example, emphasize on syllabus completion and exams reduce opportunities for students' holistic development. For example, in education in Malaysia, teachers focus on SPM question answering techniques and chasing full syllabus, resulting in activities such as project-based learning, critical discussion, or value development receiving less attention. So actually, this is happened in education in Malaysia. Some of the schools are focused more on completing the syllabus and achieving exam results rather than students' holistic development. Uh, so this is one of the gap between philosophy and implementation. So the first, second, overemphasize on academic achievement. So the education systems tends to prioritize examination results as the main measure of student success. This results in other skills such as communication, leadership, creativity, and moral values not developing in a balanced way due to a lack of emphasis is on formal assessment. So we look at the explanation and example. Exam results are prioritized over soft skills and characters. For example, education in Malaysia, students who get straight A are considered more successful, even though they may lack in social or leadership skills, while students who are active in curricular activities are less valued. Mm. So actually, this is happen in Malaysian schools because the students who got the straight A are more get more attention, than a student who uh, good in curriculum activities or leadership skills or others lah. So this is one of the shortcomings of the national philosophy of education, which is overemphasize on academic achievement rather than soft skills and characters. Okay, next, number three, difficulty in achieving holistic human development. We look at explanation and example. Academics prioritized over co-curricular development. For example, in education in Malaysia, co-curricular activities such as sports or clubs are often considered extras, and students sometimes skip these activities to focus on tuition or extra academic classes. So actually, this has happened in Malaysian schools, and I want to share my experience at my previous school, which is at that time I was Form 5, and I saw some of my friends, they skip co-curricular activities. They skip co-curricular activities because they want to focus on academic classes. Uh, Actually, some of my friends, they think co-curricular activities just as extras for them. Uh, they don't look co-curricular activities as important. So that's why they focus more on academic rather than co-curricular development or holistic human development. Mm. Because some of my friends, they look the academic is more important than the co-curricular development. But the right is we should balance between academics and co-curricular development. Mm. So that's number three. And lastly, number four, is challenges in promoting social unity. Okay, we look at explanation and example. Different school types may limit interaction among ethnic groups. For example, in education in Malaysia, Malay, Chinese, and Indian students may study in different school systems from an early age, resulting in less exposure to other cultures and making it difficult to form national unity. So, different school types, or we can say vernacular school, vernacular school, which is, you know, um, have give a negative some negative impact for our education system, and especially in less exposure to other cultures and making it difficult to form national unity. Um, so the existence of vernacular school actually have have some issues. Uh, some issues. Okay, we can see, for example, we can see the issues of language, Malay language, because some of Malaysian and Malaysian Chinese student who school at vernacular school, some of them they don't know about Malay language. Actually, they don't fluent in Malay language, but they are Malaysian, but they don't fluent fluent in Malay language. So that is the problem lah. That is the problem. And other issues is upside down Malaysian flag, bendera terbalik. So actually, uh, so how we can strengthen unity among other races, among Malay, Chinese, and Indian races. How can we strengthen unity? Uh, because of the vernacular school, different school types, so it gives some negative impact for our education system. So I hope you guys understand what I mean. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello everyone. My name is Nidal bin Muhammad Nazri, metric number 2311905. So now that we've already understood the advantages and shortcomings of the national philosophy of education, let us move on to the advantages and shortcomings of the philosophy of Islamic education. So now let us look at the advantages first, and I would like to highlight 3 advantages of this philosophy. So the first one is that this philosophy emphasizes the balance between dunya and akhirah. It means that this philosophy does not only prepare students to be ready with the worldly life, such as education and career, but it also prepares them to be ready for the hereafter as well. So for example, a student studies so hard in order to gain his ambition, which is to become a doctor. So he studies very hard to become a doctor because doctor is his ambition. So that is for the worldly benefit. But at the same time, he understands that treating others or helping others is considered as an act of worship or ibadah, and it will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it means that the philosophy of Islamic education aims to balance between dunya and akhirah. The second one is this philosophy also focuses on the moral development and spiritual growth as well. So the clear example would be in the textbook Islamic education subject, there is a specific section where students will learn about moral and ethical values. For example, humility, integrity, responsibility, respect, and many more. So it means that this philosophy of Islamic education does not only focuses on the theoretical side, for example, fiqh and sirah, but it also emphasizes as well the spiritual aspect. And the last but not least is this philosophy sees Al-Quran and As-Sunnah is the main and foundational source of knowledge. So why is this considered as benefit? It is because, as we all know, that human intellect and reasoning or human mind is limited. So we have to rely on something else that is more reliable, which is Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. As the Prophet stated in the hadith, Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Taraktu fikum amrayni lan tadillu ma in tamassaktum bihima, Al-Qur'anu was Sunnah. So it means that as long as we hold on to Al-Quran and As-Sunnah, we will not get lost forever. So also to be reminded that even though this philosophy sees Al-Quran and As-Sunnah as the main sources, but it doesn't mean that it rejects intellect and rational. So rational and logic are accepted as long as it is aligned with Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. Even though there are a lot of advantages of the philosophy of Islamic education, as I've explained earlier, we also cannot deny the fact that there are also shortcomings of this philosophy. So now, let us focus on the shortcomings of the philosophy of Islamic education. And in this part, I would like to highlight 3 shortcomings or challenges that we might face in realizing the philosophy of Islamic education. So the first one is lack of creativity and innovation in teaching Islamic education subject. So as we all can see that nowadays there are a lot of Islamic education teachers that probably don't have enough knowledge on modern subjects and technology. They are not able to integrate technology with this subject. So instead of integrating technology in Islamic education, they tend to teach this subject using the old and traditional way of teaching. So this is also actually the reason why some students might think that this subject is boring and they don't have interest in learning this subject. So the second one is more focus on theory than application. So it means that most of students they tend to learn Islamic concept theoretically and they don't apply it in real life situation. For example, students learn about the tayammum, the definition of tayammum, and the pillars of tayammum. However, when they encounter real life situation that requires them to perform the tayammum, they are not able to perform it well and correctly. Last but not least, lack of internalization among the Islamic education students. For example, students learn about the concept of as-sidq. However, they still engage in cheating during examination because they don't internalize the importance of the concept. And also, as we all know that this subject, Islamic education, is compulsory for all Muslim students, but we still can see that there are a lot of moral and social issues that are happening in schools. For example, smoking, bullying, rape, and adultery. This is because they don't internalize what they've learned in schools, but instead they only learn it theoretically without applying it. So these are the challenges that we need to know in order for us to find the solution to solve it.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Izul Irfan bin Muhammad Azib. So, I will present about solutions for the shortcomings of the both philosophy. The first one is national philosophy of education, and the second one is Islamic education philosophy. So, we are going to uh, I am going to present to explain about solutions for the shortcomings of the national philosophy of education. Okay, so we move on to the solutions for the shortcomings of national philosophy of education. So we have 3 solutions. The first one is integrated teacher training, where teachers play a key role in implementing the NPE. NPE is a short form for National Philosophy of Education. And this responsibility should be given to the schools and government, where they need to provide integrated training to the teachers so that the teachers can have better understanding to the holistic development of students as outlined in the NPE, including intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and physical aspects. And all these domains should be aligned with the belief in God, which is belief in Allah. So, for example, the government should provide workshops on holistic pedagogy to the teachers, and also the schools can create character development modules to the teachers. Okay, that's the first solution. The second solution is the government should reduce exam-oriented focus, where one's success is not measured solely by exam scores, but the NPE, the National Philosophy of Education, aims to produce balanced individuals, not just high exam scorers, but balance in all aspects, spiritual, intellectual, emotional, and also physical. So, what the school can do is the schools can introduce more project-based learning and skill-based assessments based on what the students have learned in class. So the students can develop critical thinking and creativity, and also they can apply what they have learned not just in the exam paper but also in real life. They can, and this thing align with the philosophy's holistic goals. And the last solutions for the shortcomings of the national philosophy of education is integration of practical and critical thinking skills, where many schools still focus mainly on syllabus memorization. But actually, the memorization should be integrated with practical things, with practicals, and also critical thinking, where this solution emphasizes in critical thinking, problem solving, and also practical skills. And these all important skills can be implemented in a lot of activities of or a lot of initiative. For example, critical thinking can be implemented in STEM projects, science experiments. Problem solving can be implemented in debates, and also uh, practical skills can be implemented in entrepreneurship. Uh, so these all skills help students become not only academically knowledgeable but also competent in real life situation. Okay, next we are moving to the next part, which is solutions for the shortcomings of the philosophy of Islamic education. So we continue with solutions for the shortcomings of IEP. IEP stands for Islamic Education Philosophy. So we are suggesting three solutions, where these three solutions is very important in this real education reality. So the first solution is integrate Islamic values with modern knowledge, where we can see nowadays who are conquering the knowledge right now, the Western. So if the Western conquer the knowledge, means the Western are conquering the world. Okay, so um, for now we can see that Muslim nowadays is left behind. Okay, we we are lacking of scholars, Muslim scholars, where um, most of the scholars nowadays is are liberal. They are liberal, and why I say that integration is values with modern knowledge is very important, because if Islamic values integrated with modern knowledge, it means that Muslim can conquer the world. We can produce Muslim scholars, and this is very important because students nowadays often see Islamic education as only religious theory, but actually, uh, Islamic education is applicable in daily life. For example, by integrating modern knowledge such as science, technology, and economics with Islamic values, students can understand how Islam is relevant in all aspects in our life, in all aspects of life and their future careers. That's why it is very important for us as a future murabi, mu'allim, mu'addib to integrate, to inculcate Islamic values in modern knowledge so that our students, our future generations will not be liberal, but they can apply Islam in everything, in every aspect, okay, in every field, in every area. Okay, that is that one is very important. Okay, so the second solution we suggest is practical teaching approaches, where people see that teaching is often too theoretical, where it can be teacher centered, but actually teaching can be both centered, the teacher centered and also student centered, where student centered is more approachable and practical by the teachers can apply or can implement learning by doing, where the students learn first and then do later, where the doing is practical, or the teachers can implement role play where the teachers give uh, real situation, and then the students show the role play, and also the teachers can implement practical simulations of worship and moral actions. So students can internalize akhlaq, ibadah, and social responsibility in a practical, everyday context. Okay, that one is very important because um, we can see that um, Islamic education, people will see that Islamic education is just use the memory to memorize a lot of facts, a lot of rulings. No, Islam is practical. We need to practice Islam in our daily life. Okay, and the last one, we suggest to use of technology in Islamic education, because nowadays people see that Islamic education just use um, traditional method, but actually it's wrong. Islamic education always relevant. What Whenever the time goes, Islamic education always relevant to that time. Okay, so the teachers should engage the students with digital platforms, learning apps, and interactive multimedia, so that the the teaching and learning session more approachable, more engageable, and get a lot of positive feedback from the students. For example, Quranic learning apps with quizzes or videos demonstrating good character in daily life. By using of this technology, it actually fulfill the needs of the generations, because nowadays the generations, our generations, generation Z, our generation Alpha, born with technology, born in the technology era. So, hence, therefore, it is very important to the teachers to keep update uh, with the technology, so that the learning more engaging, relevant, and effective. So before we conclude, let me tell you a story. And this story happened during last Ramadan, where I was walking with my friend at LRT station after Surat Tarawih. And then there I saw a group of children around 7 to 10 years old playing skateboard at LRT station. Playing skateboard. Af- Not after Tarawih, they don't even wearing, baju Melayu or kopiah. No, no, no. They didn't wear that uh, attire, no. They wore, short pants, and then the round collar shirt. It means that they didn't perform Tarawih. Okay, okay, and then after that, there was a kid passing through in front of me, and then he almost hit me. He also almost hit me, and my reaction is I was shocked at that time, and it's like, do you think this is your father's road? Allahu Akbar. And then I was thinking like, what happened to this generation? Kids like them, kids of that age should spend their time, their golden time, uh, in masjid, performing tarawih or studying at home instead of playing skateboard. Why? Why? They are wasting their their own golden time, And I was reflecting myself, like, me and we are future murabbi, mu'alim, and even mu'addib. Do we really, really implement? Do we really, really internalize what the national philosophy of education wants, or Islamic education philosophy wants? We don't just cater student problem in school, but also we we also caters to student problems outside the school. Okay? That's why muadib is not just in the school, but also outside the schools. You plays a role of murabbi, muallim, and even muadib inside and outside the school. So it is a muhasabah. It is a reflection for us to really, really care about our future generations, so that they they are really what you call, appreciating their own golden time, okay, with benefit things. So that's the story from me, and it's very, like, reflecting our education system, where our education system is actually quality have quality, or our teachers quality have quality or not. It reflect back to us. So to conclude, our presentation today, in short, NPE, which is National Philosophy of Education and Islamic Education Philosophy, aim to develop balanced, knowledgeable, and ethical individuals. Ethical individuals. So both of them complement each other, and we as teacher need to apply and fulfill both philosophy, so that we can address the problems of the generations right now. And we cannot deny that both of them have their own uh, shortcomings, but it's not a big problem. We can address them, we can solve them. And but the most important thing is, we need to be more qualified, quality future murabbi, mu'allim and mu'addib, so that we can prepare students to thrive intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, socially, and physically. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.